Hello, everyone. You are welcome to Niger Podcast, where we equip you with the knowledge and tools required for you to be the very best version of yourself. One thing we do in Niger is believe. We believe in you, we believe that you have greatness within you, and our job is to help you unlock that greatness. With me on today's podcast is
Clement from Cameroon, and I am a student currently studying at Ashesi University. My interest is in youth empowerment and social entrepreneurship. Thank you for having me, Kene.
Great, and I am Kenneth. Thomas Edison is generally described as America's greatest inventor of all times. He developed many devices in the fields of electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion pictures. Indeed, Edison was a prolific inventor. In the USA alone, he held over 1,000 patents in his name and held so many others in other parts of the world. But as an inventor, Edison made thousands of unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. When a reporter asked Edison, "How do you feel about these failures?" Edison replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that would not work." Today on this podcast, we are going to be dealing with the subject of failure. Failure is an inevitable part of life, but how we handle failure will determine the success that we experience in life. So let me begin by asking Clement, what is failure to you? How would you define failure?
Well, to me, as humans, I would say we have goals or expectations that we really want to achieve or see them come true. So, when we do not, meet up those expectations or do not see those achieve or those goals that we want to achieve come true, I describe that as having failed. That if we are unable because of a circumstance or a situation, sometimes it's beyond our control, sometimes it's directly our fault. Um, that stops us from getting to that destination that we wanted to see ourselves get there. Then I would say at that point I have failed.
Hmm, very interesting point. Thank you so much, Clement, for that. Some have defined failure as a learning curve. Some have called it a comma and not a full stop. Because in this life that we live, it's almost impossible to succeed without failure. So we should expect to face disappointment. We should expect to face failure. Now, going forward, Mr. Clement, are failures an important part of life? If so, why are they important?
Well, I think as you have pointed it out, sometimes, most often actually, failure is part of a learning process. If we don't fail when we're learning, perhaps we didn't get things right, or we should question the methods that we use for that process. It is important that sometimes you have to fail for it to stick into your head. So I think failures are important parts of life. They teach you the experience, you become more experienced because sometime in the future when you face that problem again, you know how to tackle it because you have learned from that experience, that feeling experience. And as Thomas Edison said, he has learned 99,000 other ways, of how not to make a bulb. So
Hmm.
when we are failing, we are in fact learning other ways of, you know, we are streaming down and reducing the number of possible ways to make something, and then we get to that single point that we know, okay, this is the right recipe or this is the right process that we have to follow if we want to get this thing done. So yes, it is an important part of our life. So because we learned from the process, and although failure teaches us, we should not learn to make it our friend. Like We should not get very comfortable with always failing, right? Failure teaches us that we should not make it our friend. We should not be happy to always fail. It is important that you fail sometimes and learn from them. But then if you're failing too often, then perhaps you're not learning from that experience.
Mm, that's powerful. So failure is important to teach us some lessons, but we shouldn't just sit down and moan and celebrate failure there. We need to learn, pick up the lesson, and not repeat the same mistake next time so that we could advance into success. I think that's a very powerful point that you made there. Um, Nelson Mandela once said something. He says, only when you've been through the lowest valley that you will begin to appreciate the highest mountain. So failure teaches us the other side of life so that we begin to appreciate when the good things happen. Going forward, Mr. Clement, I just have one more question to ask you. What was your last experience of failure like, and what did you do to get over it?
Well, I think I can recall that my last failing experience that really struck me was this internship program I was applying for. So I have gained some interest in qualitative research, and then I did try my luck with this internship program that would help me to shape um, my proficiency as an aspiring qualitative researcher. I managed to get to the next level, and then I had one other level to complete, and I did my best. But one morning, I just received an email that, oh, we are sorry, we will not be able to continue with you because the application pool was so tough and all. And it really struck me to the core because this is something that I really wanted to do. And then it was an amazing opportunity to connect with people across the globe too. So um that was a painful experience for me. But then how I got to deal with this was, we first of all we have to accept that we have failed. We have to accept that okay, we have failed. And then I try to, evaluate myself. What probably did I do wrong that the decision didn't go in my favor? And how did I do that? I try to seek feedback from the pool. I try to seek feedback from the admissions person, and I email them and I ask them, okay, thank you for informing me about my decision. While I'm saddened by the news, I would love to know, where I went wrong, or like feedback to improve on myself as I move on with my journey. And so I think that's something that's really important. We should, when you fail on a process, or like if someone gives you a negative critique, you should try to, or if someone denies something, you should try to get feedback why they stopped that process or why you couldn't proceed so that next time you can improve on that. And it's always okay to accept that you have failed. It's sometimes some things are not for us. There are better opportunities out there waiting for us. So sometimes a closed door is actually an opening to another door. So one of the ways, or some of the ways that I deal with failing is first I accept that okay, I fall short, and then I need to acquire more knowledge. And to acquire that knowledge, I need to get feedback from that process, and then I ask for the feedback, and I realize that okay, I need to improve on myself. So next time I would use that feedback constructively to put forward a better application. So that's how I deal with my failure.
Mm. Thank you for that. To be honest with you, it's really difficult dealing with failure sometimes, especially when you put in all your effort. And there is this temptation to compare yourself with others. For example, you look at the people who made it and you begin to say, well, does it mean these ones are better than me? And sometimes it may not be, it may be that probably God has something better for you or is preparing you better. So by the time you take the feedback and apply it, you may actually be better prepared for that opportunity. I have had situations that I applied for things and repeatedly like 2 3 years and it didn't work out. But on the fourth time when I applied for it, it worked. I realized I was better prepared to maximize that opportunity. The first few times I wasn't really taking the feedback seriously. I just wanted to prove that I could get into it. Life teaches us lesson in several ways. I think it's important that when we fail, it is not actually that you failed in life. It is that there was something, either there was something wrong about the method you followed in trying to achieve that thing, or you have to realize that there are only so much opportunities available when it comes to you applying for a scholarship or anything you apply for. If they are to take only 2 or 3 people, there are thousands of people, and sometimes it's not actually the best that they usually select. Sometimes it's just the lucky ones, because there are a lot of factors that actually come into play when you are selected from a pool of highly talented young people. But in any case, the best mindset to deal with failure is don't internalize it too much. Pick up some lessons from it. I understand that there is so much out there waiting for you. I have had one girl that I've helped prepare for his scholarship applications. And I've helped several people prepare for scholarship applications. And there's this one particular scholarship that I've helped a pool of students prepare. Now, the one that I think should be the most qualified, this girl had had all the awards we had then in the university. And I was thinking that amongst all the people that helped prepare for that scholarship, she would be the one to get it. She didn't get it, others got it, and she tried 3 years to get it. She couldn't get it. I told you, you know what, Roland? I think that what you need to do is you don't need to beat up yourself. Understand that probably God has something better for you, and there are always opportunities out there for you to succeed. Don't beat down yourself. And today she's a very successful young woman doing great, impacting the lives of young people on the African continent. So having the right mindset to failure is important. Your future does not depend entirely on just one successful outcome. Anyway, once again, I really want to appreciate Clement for spending this time with me, discussing the subject of failure. Clement, if you have any one more advice you want to give young people out there who are battling with failure, what would it be?
Well, my advice for any young person battling with failure will first, you should know that at least you tried. Congratulate yourself for trying, because there are many other people that would saw that opportunity or would had that chance to do what you did, but then they gave up at the beginning. So congratulate yourself for trying. And also the next step would be, now that you have not achieved this, what is possible now? Ask yourself that question and come up with a plan for your next actions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Clement, for that impactful advice. And to the listeners, thank you so much for being part of today's podcast. Until next time, stay blessed.